Welcome, everybody. So I'm going to introduce Nina Farrell, and she's going to start introducing other people.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the Education Alumni Group of the Alumni Association of the City College of New York's principal panels discussion on how to get a job in education. First, I just want to talk to you all about the Alumni Association. The Alumni Association is a 501c3 nonprofit, separate from the City College of New York, but we work very closely with them to engage alumni and support the current students. The Alumni Association, our number one goal is to, again, engage alumni, connect them with both the City College of New York, their alma mater, and then also to connect them with students like many of you. And in that same vein, our Education Alumni Group, we have about 15 total affiliate groups, 12 chapters nationwide. But today, our Education Alumni Group is hosting this event along with the School of Education here at CCNY. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Hetty Levine.
Thank you, Nina. So some of you probably have seen me in your Friday workshops, and I'm on Zoom again. And I'm going to be super brief. Thank you for coming. I feel like everything we do as a community, and that includes our alumni community for sure, to help prepare you for this next step in your professional life is a really important step. So with that very brief introduction, I'm going to introduce you to Peter Goodman, who is an esteemed alumnus of City College and very involved in the alumni organization. And he'll introduce our principals on the principal panel.
Welcome,
Peter?
everyone. Welcome, everyone. Zena is the current president of the Education Alumni. She's a teacher in District 5, and she's the U of T district rep. That's the union representing teachers in District 5. And Zena is going to introduce the principals.
Yeah, so just bear with me because I just came from the dentist, so I feel like I'm a little warped here, a little discombobulated. But first we have on the panel, we have Principal Fullerton, who's a high school principal at FDA High School. We have Elizabeth Jarrett, who's an elementary school principal at CS 154, that's the Harriet Tubman Learning Center. We have Dr. Kavita Jagannath Ocasio, which is an elementary school principal as well at PS 175. We have Dr. Hazel, who's also a pre-K through 8 principal at PS 46. And I think that's all for our principals, right? I didn't leave. Oh, I'm sorry. And Wanda Acevedo, who's also an elementary school principal at PS 194. So welcome, principals, and thank you for taking the time out to join. And you get first dibs and direct resumes coming to you. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone. I was a teacher for a very long time. I absolutely loved it. I didn't love it every day, but it made me into a better person. I greatly appreciated all the students I've had through the years. I've kept in contact with many, many of them. And my son went into education. It's sort of a family business. So I'd like to start off by asking the principals, how do you determine which resume to call for an interview? Yeah, I know you receive many, many resumes. You go through them, but these prospective teachers want to know what you're looking for in a resume. Ms. Acevedo, why don't you start?
I am so sorry. Can you repeat the question?
You get a lot of resumes. How do you decide which resume to interview?
Well, first I look at the experiences and what they know in the student teaching I also like to look at the cover letter. I think the cover letter is a great opportunity for candidates to express who they are as a person and really sell themselves and explain specifically why they want to be part of my school community versus others.
Next principal.
Similar to Principal Acevedo, we also are very keen on student teaching. We like to look to see where the student teaching occurs, right? We look to see if they have varied backgrounds, if they're within the Harlem community, if they're coming outside of New York City, if it's state. We also look at what extracurricular activities they're part of, right? Because we look to see how that becomes value added to the particular school. Can you run a chess club? Can you be part of a girls volleyball team, right? So value added in terms of what additional areas of expertise you can bring into the schools is also something I think my colleagues and I look for.
So in addition to all of that, we also look at certification. So you have to be able to meet the need of a vacancy we currently need to fill. And so I would 100% agree with Dr. Kavita Jagannath Ocasio that the hobbies and extracurricular are something that I also take a look at. Agreeing with Ms. Acevedo, Principal Acevedo, I do read the cover letters and just to see what type of writer I'm dealing with, as well as to see what, what are some of their educational philosophy.
Thanks.
And again, everything that has been said, is really a composite of what we look at. I also look at looking at the cover letter. I want to see your story. I want to know who you are, what you are bringing. I want to know your why, and that narrative should tell me about that. Why are you into education? Tell me something about you as a person. I also look at affiliations. Do you belong to clubs and associations, volunteerism? Are you willing to put in the extra time to do work, not just in terms of academia, but some of the socialization that you can bring those experiences in? So it's a composite of everything everyone has said.
Thank you. Next.
I would also just add, I think that we've comprehensively answered that particular question, but for my staff, as a high school, I'm always looking for teachers who can teach outside of their content area. If they are interested in teaching an elective or another course that helps meet graduation requirements for students, that's also important. So for example, if there's a teacher who has a certification in math and your background is, say, in accounting or finance, I would love for a teacher like that to teach an elective course in financial literacy for students. And so things that are listed on the resume that can help me put together how you as a candidate fit into my school community definitely helps me choose resumes over others. I remember last year, I had a candidate who put her scores from a Myers-Briggs personality test. And I thought that was very interesting because it helped support how she would particularly fit into the department, because that's something that we do as a community as well. So I think things like that, or additions like that to your resume help us pick out from the hundreds of resumes that we receive.
Thank you. Do we have any other principals who haven't spoken yet?
I think you got it, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to Ms. Acevedo. What's the favorite question that you ask candidates when you interview them? People are always nervous to know about questions, and I know you try to select questions which explore the candidate. But what's your favorite question?
I have a lot of them, but I think the one that I ask most often is, what book are you currently reading? I want to see that a candidate is a lifelong learner, that they are continuing their development as educators. And even if it's a fun book, showing that you are an avid reader, so then that way you are and fostering that passion for reading in the students.
Thank you. Ms. Jarrett?
Similarly, I would like to know what's the last children's book you have read, because if we're coming into an elementary setting and I ask you what's the last children's book you read and you're unable to tell me, then, that gives me cause for thought. I also ask, them to tell me what a colleague would say about them. How would
Thanks.
they describe them?
Our next principal?
So we usually like to ask, we know that lots of candidates are interviewing different places. So we like to know that you also know a little bit about us. So we always ask, we know if you're offered a job here, we obviously see something in you, in your resume, in the conversation. So what would it be about our school that would make you commit to our school, right? So you have to do your homework a little bit. You have to find out about the school. You have to read a little bit about our demographic, learn about our community, learn what makes our school unique when you are interviewing, right? And while we understand there's blanketed interviewing that happens, and sometimes it's about getting a job, we also want to make sure that the school is a good fit for you, the same way we think that you are a good fit for the school. So we like to really get personal in terms of, are you doing your homework with regard to the schools you're interviewing with?
Thank you.
I don't want to give all my secrets away. However, I will say that I like to ask candidates to share something that's not on their resume. And always curious to know why they shared that particular fact about them. And again, it just helps us get to know the candidate and really see, as Kavita mentioned, that they're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for them, and really, get personal. Like, this is personal work, and we really want to make sure that those who we're bringing onto the school community are a really good fit. And that's really important for us. So that's what I ask usually.
Thank you.
My apologies. I just lost connection. One of my usual question, I won't say their favorite, but if you've ever had an uncollegial moment with a colleague, how did you go about resolving it? And so I always ask that one because, and sometimes when they're student teachers, they don't often, or they're new to the profession, they may not have that moment, but we can talk about it in terms of, a member of your project team, a member of, a classmate, something along those lines. So I really try to figure out what the conflict resolution steps are when, the adults come in the building, resolve these things.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else?
Well, I'm going to just jump in and add and piggyback on with Ms. Jarrett, because she does use a panel and a group of teachers for us to interview people. She doesn't do it by herself. So one of the questions that I like to ask is to describe a challenge that they may have faced in the classroom situation, and how would you resolve it? A lot of times that's a big issue for new teachers, right? Is classroom management, and just even though about how strategies and putting routines and things of that nature in place, because know that they're going to come up. So just giving them that lens to be able to think about how they would face classroom management problems, and not just listing techniques, but really thinking and coming up with strategies on how to deal with that.
Thank you, Zena. My favorite question that I always ask is, in the past few weeks that you've been teaching and your student teaching, what was the best lesson you taught and how do you know it? I think it's very important that teachers be reflective, that there's teaching and learning. So you may be doing all the things you think are right, but how do you know that you're being effective? Because it's a complex task and broader, and you become a better listener. So I think trying to judge to what extent the teacher is flexible, to what extent they're thinking about how they measure their effectiveness, I think is important to get someone thinking about. If you're observing a classroom, if you call someone in to teach a demonstration lesson, I don't know whether you do that or not, but if you have a demonstration lesson, what do you look for in the demonstration lesson? Ms. Acevedo?
Yeah, so one of the things that we look for, of course, we look for like the lesson plan structure and making sure that there's like a logical sequence of the activities, but more importantly, we look at what the rapport is between the candidate and the students. So typically, by the time we get to the demonstration lesson, it's towards the final stages of the interview process. So I'll have an idea of where I want to place the candidate. So I will typically choose the class that candidate may get in September, just to, again, see what the management style is, do the students respond to them, and all things like that.
Thank you. Next.
Well, I'm looking at interaction, how the candidate approaches the class, introduces the lesson. I'm also looking at student engagement, because looking at a lesson plan, it may be a well-written lesson plan, but in terms of execution, the kids are not participating, they are bored. So just looking at some of these pieces, and then how does the candidate pivot? What pedagogical skills are then in the toolbox that they can just pull out?
Thank you.
Similarly to my colleagues, just student engagement is always huge, right? You can create a lesson plan, and those things that occur prior to the interactions in the classroom. So it's always about your interaction, how you present yourself to children, do you take an interest in simple things like, okay, what's your name, or saying good morning, or how you greet children, or just you're meeting them and you're staying with them for about 20 minutes, right? So how are you just encouraging them to speak, to have a voice within those 20 minutes, and just maintaining some sort of instructional focus whilst doing that. And in 20 minutes, it tells a lot about how planned you are, how ready you are, and how able you are to afterwards to also reflect and say, I thought this was well, or I really was planned. I really enjoyed speaking with the children. And we do have folks that after a demo lesson will say, I don't know if this really is for me, because it may have been the first time they're in a classroom. So having that demo lesson and just being very intentional around communicating effectively with children, regardless of the age group, and keeping and trying to maintain or just formulate some type of positive classroom environment where you're getting and keeping children engaged is very important.
Thank you.
So typically,
sorry.
You want to go ahead, Fullerton? You're the high school.
Sure. And just briefly, to add to what I've heard so far, it's also for me, again, about the rapport, how quickly the teacher can build rapport with students and making students feel comfortable in that particular demo lesson. I also really look for the ending of the lesson when we have a reflective conversation with the teacher, right? So we don't expect demo lessons to go perfectly, but if the teacher can be reflective about, well, this happened and I would do this differently based on what happened or the outcomes that they received, then I know, or that gives me a window into how the teacher is being reflective and noticing what teacher moves they're making and how they could potentially shift those moving forward.
Typically, when I ask someone to come back for a demo lesson, I do provide a copy of the teacher's edition lesson for them. And so, because that's what I need you to plan off of. And so, when you do that, you come in more prepared. The students can look forward to hearing a different version of a lesson that they've seen already from their teacher. Um, I also expect you to give explicit instructions so that I do, we do, you do structure has to be something that the candidate is very strong in. I expect you to break the plane, which is circulate the classroom. I do expect you to make those, one-on-one connections with the children by not standing in front of the presentation area. I'm looking for vibrancy. I'm looking for energy. And so I'm looking for, big wow. And I need to hear those things from, that wonder in from the candidate, because school is supposed to be like this amazing place, and it should reflect the candidate personality should reflect that. And again, you might not be that person, but when you're in the classroom, I need you to go full Shakespearean actor for me. I also encourage, I want to hear the positive narration. Are you giving praise? Are you giving compliments? Are you saying please and thank you? So those are also things that I want to hear a candidate do and say. And I do give feedback like Principal Fullerton. I expect to, I give some critique, something of that nature. I do give a glow and grow. So those are all things that, any candidate that gets to this level will know. And I also get feedback from my children about what they thought of the person, given my feedback. Of course, the teacher gives her input as well, but I'm more looking forward to what my students tell me about the potential candidate.
Thank you. Do any of you ask for prospective teachers to bring in artifacts of student work? And if so, what are you asking for, and what are you looking for in the examples of student work?
I typically don't, so I'll let my colleagues answer.
Okay.
Well, sometimes for the interview, they may bring in a portfolio with artifacts of student work for lessons they have taught previous, what was the lesson about, why this piece was selected, and, rated in terms of next steps. This is good, or why do you think it's good? And just get the candidate to be introspective about what they did.
Thank you.
Like Principal Jarrett, I will ask them about their portfolio, but it's not something that I.
Anyone else?
No, we don't require it, but if you do decide to choose, if you choose to share a portfolio or bring in student artifact, we definitely as a team will talk through the process of the lessons that led to this. Do you see this meeting standards? How do you know your plan for reteaching? But we definitely will talk through it, but it's not something that the hiring team will mandate or require.
Anyone else? Thank you. I've seen resumes where teachers embed video clips of their teaching and other examples of knowledge of technology. To what extent do you look for technology skills in hiring a teacher? Acevedo?
You said to what extent?
They look for that the prospective teacher has technology skills.
Yeah, no, 100%. They have to be tech savvy, especially in today's time. We teach using a smart board, and a smart board is not just it's a door to different opportunities and really navigating virtual spaces. So you're doing things like virtual field trips. So you're doing things like pulling up images to make sure that there's an understanding of the content that the students are learning. So technology does play a big role in classrooms today. And even now, thinking about AI and its practical and responsible use in the classroom as well.
Thank you.
As a STEAM-focused school, you have to utilize technology in our building. Every classroom has some type of interactive whiteboard, whether it's a Promethean board or a smart board. Every teacher in my building gets a school-issued laptop, and they also get a school-issued iPad. The teaching assistants get a school-issued iPad. So we are very tech-heavy in my building. All my classrooms have laptop cards or iPad cards. So as a STEAM-focused school, then I am, I want someone either who's already trained or willing to be trained, because my team didn't come like automatically trained to manipulate all this technology. So we spent a lot of years training everyone to make sure they know how to access things, they know how to use the technology, they know how to embed the technology into their instruction. So that is a plus. It's not always that they come like fully formed, knowing all the tech, especially now that we're going into this AI age. So, but I am always willing to train, and we have resources to train people to do that. And of course, the second piece of the tech is knowing how to manipulate your data. And so that is always something that is a plus when you do know how, because a lot of that, again, is technologically based. And so we want to make sure that, but again, if you don't come with those skills, we will
Thank
train.
you.
And just to add, I think that as it relates to technology in this day and age, someone who's willing and able, right? I think there are so many different systems that we use in all of our schools collectively, everything from Google Classroom to Jupyter Grades. Most things are now online. And so we're just looking for people who are saying, you know what, I don't know how to use this, but I'm going to learn. And being open and willing to do that consistently, because we also get to spaces where we get a new technology in the middle of the school year. We still have to navigate that as well. And so anyone who's willing to do that and have that flexibility is what I'm looking for. And I think my colleagues are as well.
Absolutely. In conjunction with what was said, it really is just another form of communicating with parents as well, right? A lot of our parent-teacher conferences are no longer in person, they're virtual. So these are platforms that you have to be familiar with. But to the point of, there's always training available on how to use Google Classroom, how to navigate all the different digital platforms where children can access some of the information. Right now, our students in grades 3, 4, and 5 are completely testing completely online, right? So simple things that have changed over the years, but just making it more accessible, but definitely willing to train.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I think it's key, and that's something we look at, because when we talk about preparing students for 21st century, we need to make sure that the staff who's doing the training also has those skills and the willingness. So in just as all my colleagues have stated, yes, and we do provide training, because again, there are new platforms, new programs that pop up, and it's the willingness to learn and show that we as leaders are also willing to learn.
Let me give you an opportunity. Why should a teacher apply for a job in your school? Be a salesman, attract people. What about your school makes it a wonderful place to start a career? Ms. Acevedo?
Everybody else gets some time to plan that one. I believe that one of the things that is true about my school community, it is a challenging community to serve. With that said, we also have a community school model that makes things like offering families wraparound services easier. We're able to provide mental health supports. We're able to provide nutrition supports, dental and vision screenings for the children. So things that may be a challenge for some families that are high need. And if you are the type of person that is willing to go above and beyond in an effort to support a child holistically, you will find the work here rewarding.
Thank you.
So I'll go next. PSMS 46 is a welcoming place for all up and down the spectrum of children to adults. We are the home of the Tappan Tigers. And for us, Tigers mean that we're gritty, that we are forceful, that we never give up on ourselves and each other. My school community, the adults there are very nurturing. The children there are some of the most compassionate people you've ever want to meet. We live our PBIS themes. Like this month, it's leadership. And so we are one of those places where SEL thrives in our school. We do have, like Principal Acevedo, we do have a very high need population, 93% Title I, and all of the complexities that come with that. And so you need to be a nurturing person. You need to care about others. You need to be empathetic. And if you are that people, we have a ground place to start, and then we can worry about the instructional pieces.
Thank you.
We are high needs, high stress, but a caring and joyful community. We support families and students. We go above and beyond to make sure that everyone has what they need to thrive. So if it's a matter of supporting health, food insecurities, whatever it needs to make sure that our families and students are secure and nurtured, we do that.
Thank you.
So I do believe District 5 as a whole is one of the districts to be a part of. Of our 23 schools, we are all uniquely individual. For our school, we are a 3K to grade 5 school. We are the gifted and talented school in our district. We started with kindergarten. We're now up to grade 3, so we offer various tracks. But what we do is we do have wraparound services. We are affiliated with the YMCA on 135th Street, and we're located next to all modes of transportation. Across from the Schomburg and up from Harlem Hospital and down from the 32nd Precinct. But we are a very small knit community, as most of our schools are. We offer you mentoring, there's on and off support. We do a lot of in-house collaboration. And we're to the point where a lot of things are not mandated because the staff just understands this is the culture of our school. This is what we do here to make sure our children get what they need. And so while we follow all of the regulations, the culture is what makes 175 unique to why parents continue to bring children here. Year after year, we've now added another 3K seat, another pre-K 4 seat at the request of parents because we really institute families, right? So I have my older one, I bring another one, and we stay very committed to our families. And so that's why they return. So like my colleagues, we all have these individual greatness about each one of our District 5 schools.
Thank you very much. Do the members of our audience have any questions?
Wait a minute.
I'm just
Oh, excuse me.
okay, yeah, after Fullerton, but just let me jump in. I just want to ask the principals to put your contact information in the chat. So if anyone needs to leave or jump off, it's there so that our candidates can directly contact you. Your emails and school numbers and things of that nature. So, and then go ahead, Fullerton. Thank you.
Sure. So I'll be brief. I don't have much time, but my school, the Frederick Douglass Academy, is one of the largest comprehensive high schools in our district. We are a 6 to 12 school, and we pride ourselves on being the first of many things. And so we have a school community that is embedded in core values that we believe allow our students to be able to go to the college of their choice or career of their choice. And we do that through our academic programs that we offer students, everything from AP classes to college now classes to courses that help them explore the next steps for them. You know, my school community has one of the largest sports programs in Upper Harlem, and we just support students from the Bronx and District 5 and Upper Harlem. And so if this is the place where you want to be or your child to be, right, we're also taking students as well. And so it's really important to know that we are really pride ourselves on being a community. We have many staff members here whose children have gone to FDA, whose children's children have gone to FDA. And so we keep it in the family. And once you become a part of our school community, you are family forever and a lion forever. So I will keep it short and put my information in the chat.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions that people didn't put in the chat that they want to ask?
free
In
to
an
speak.
interview, I know that questions, like sometimes principals will be like, do you have any questions? And I've been told, always have questions, but I don't know what kind of questions I should have.
I'll start. I think it's important that you're thinking about what you would be teaching. So what the administrative staff has potentially for you to teach. So asking questions around, do you have a sample program or what grade? Do you think I would be a part of is a good question to ask. I think candidates who ask questions around for the teacher's upward growth, right? So what professional development opportunities that exist during the PD time, but potentially outside the PD time, I think are good places.
Anyone else?
That's to just add on to what Aisha said. You may also want to ask, what are the expectations for me in my job? Because a teacher is a teacher is a teacher, but there are different expectations when you're on the job. And again, what kind of support can I expect? If I need help with this, who do I turn to? Is there someone who can mentor me? Some questions, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So something may seem somewhat innocuous, but just ask the question.
Any other questions from
Yeah.
people?
We have a
Similar to
couple people with their
Jared,
hands up.
Hetty, can I respond or no? Or
Oh,
take
sure,
the-
sure, absolutely.
Okay. Hold on, Abigail and Leslie. We'll be right with you. So similarly to Principal Jarrett, I wanted to be also specific. What are the expectations for first year teacher, second year teacher, and how can and what supports are available to help them get better in their second year, third year. So those are types of questions that, you're thinking not just short term, but long term. And you're setting the table for what the principal expects from you as a first year teacher by knowing early what those expectations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Peter, there are some questions in the chat. Do you want me to just read some of those from the chat?
Sure, yes.
So Alan asks, do you do training? I'm sorry, do you train during PD? So one of the questions are either is there PD that's offered for teachers? They want to know that about PD opportunities.
So Zena, I've been responding to people in the chat.
Okay.
So I've been writing written
Okay, thank
responses
you.
to people as it comes across.
Thank you.
Should I ask my question?
Sure.
So when you are looking for theater teachers, what are the similarities and differences in how you want a demo lesson to be compared to teachers of other subjects?
Give an example.
So if I'm teaching theater, are there aspects of demo lesson that you would want to be differently? Like, would you want the students to be, like, would you not be as happy with the written exit ticket because you think that that's not active enough? Or would you still want a written exit ticket or things like that, I guess? Like, what specifically would be the difference or not in looking for a theater teacher compared to other subjects?
So in my school, we do have the arts. We have music, we have and not just music instruments, and we also have visual and graphic arts. And so for me, we're thinking about expanding our arts program to include either dance or theater. So for me, I expect to see a lot of flexible grouping. I want this group over here working on something. I want this group over here working on something. It needs to be very small. It needs to be intimate. It needs to be a little bit more active. The children should not be sitting at their desk if we're doing a theater. The space really needs to be very engaging. And but this is with everyone. So a similarity with other teachers, I want big boys. So for theater, that should not be like hard because that's like kind of your bread and butter. So it needs to look different in terms of like vibrancy, in terms of just movement. There needs to be a lot of organized chaos in there. I don't want to see, quiet theater workshops. I mean, unless, there's something quiet happening. But for a demo lesson, I 100%, or just for theater, period, there's a noisiness that needs to happen. Going into my art class sometimes, I'm like, I got to back out slowly because it's just too much. And my music class is just too much cacophony happening at the same time. But I really want to see, different stations and different activities happening. And there needs to be some type of a routine to reel them back in during this organized chaos.
Thank you. I like that, organized chaos. That's the essence of teaching. Anyone
How
else?
about Leslie?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I want to thank you all for taking the time to hop on this call. I know some of you are going through state testing and regions coming up, so can imagine the hectic week you've had. My question is, I want to get a better understanding on the timeline of the application interview process. I sit for my certification exams in 2 weeks, and I want to know your attitude towards applicants that will be getting their certification officially in a couple of weeks. Are you interviewing applicants that don't have it yet? What is that looking like?
We usually do want people to either have their certification already finalized. We know that with the state processing takes such a long time that if you haven't taken your test yet, chances are you're not going to be fully certified in September, and that puts us at a disadvantage. It's mandated that you're certified by the time you start teaching.
So I'm going to interject a little something then. It sounds like a candidate who has completed all their certification exams, but might just be completing their coursework at the end of May or at the end of June would be someone you might welcome because they're obviously, other than their final recommendation for certification by the college, they're ready to go. So you prioritize passing those exams it gives you more confidence in the time investment that you're going to make in interviewing a candidate. Does that, Leslie? Now I know the answer to that question too. It's a good question, Leslie. Thank you everyone for nodding. Nodding on Zoom is amazing.
Any other questions? Let me thank everyone. You did a wonderful job, I think. And remember that this is recorded, so in about a week you'll be able to go watch it again if there's anything that you want to listen to again. We're going to contact Netflix and see if they'll put it up on Netflix. Only joking, but it's worthwhile. I think the principals were absolutely superb, and I want to thank them for spending all their time. And I want to thank our students for participating. This was a wonderful activity.
I have a question. I have a question. Sorry.
One last question.
Yes, I have a question. What would you guys recommend because I'm graduating, but I have a commitment with my job where I have to stay for like a year and a half. What would you recommend that I do during that time to be prepared to apply and interview with schools?
Barbara, why don't you say what grade range you're you're teaching and where you want to land, because I think that might influence the answer to the question.
Okay, so I teach toddlers right now, but I want to move up to either between 3K and kindergarten.
So you have early childhood certification.
Yes,
you're going for early childhood.
Yes.
So I would say do the full year and then try to get in September. I would pause at someone willing to leave, like especially young children, midstream, mid-year. And so I would say do the full year because, children for me have difficulties with separation, and that includes separation with teachers. So if you have an opportunity to do another year, but don't leave midstream and then take a job, because then for me, I personally would not hire you because I'm like mid-year leave. And I'm like, yeah, no, that means you left a group of children hanging. So that could potentially mean you'd leave my children hanging. So just be mindful of just completing the year just fully, and that half year, try to, before the half year happens, just try to get in the following year from September on, so that you can start the year and end it fully.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, so my job is complete. My job is different. It's like a backup center, so I have different kids every day. So I wouldn't even be like leading a group. I wouldn't know the kids coming in the next day. So my job is
But
completely different.
you would, if you explain that to Dr. Hazel, then she would have a different interpretation of your start date then. So just, it's all in the details, right, everyone?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
All right, Peter, you
Any
were
other
saying
comments,
goodbye and thank
questions?
you.
So the candidates have the information in the chat. Make sure that you get everyone's contact information so that you could apply directly to the schools.
And I just want to thank
And I
all
would
the
say when
districts.
I would say that
That's
since
okay.
you spoke about cover letters, make sure that you put that you were on the panel and got to get some insight to the schools that you're interviewing because of this panel.
Yes. And I would say
Yes.
District 5 rocks. You guys are
Yes, we do.
fantastic District 5 leaders. We're so lucky to have you all, including you, Zena. So I guess it's time to say goodbye, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Thank
District
you.
5 principals, for joining us today. I appreciate you all.
Yes, thank you all for joining the Education Alumni Group and supporting, and the principals especially for participating and supporting the Zena and the Education Alumni Group. And thank you all, the School of Education here at CCNY graduates, because they're here to help you. They want to connect with you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All
Thank you,
right.
everyone.
Take care,
All right.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank
Night.
you.